So I was on Twitter yesterday and I noticed that a fellow game master was voicing a complaint about the item, the Bag of Holding. The Bag of Holding in Dungeons & Dragons is it's a backpack that has an extra dimensional space inside of it. So what it allows players to do is to fill that bag up with like 500 pounds worth of stuff, but it still only weighs about 5 to 10 pounds because that's what the backpack weighs. It's a magical item and it's pretty useful. Actually, players love getting a hold of this. One of the reasons why this item exists is because it's a item designed to get rid of a bookkeeping aspect, but without having to hand wave that bookkeeping aspect while playing the game. So if there, within the game, there can be these tiny fiddly rules that cause players to have to kind of keep a running track of what's going on with them. Like how many arrows they have, how many rations they have, how much water that they're carrying, and how many items that they can store. And these magic items, there are magic items that exist to try to kind of get rid of that bookkeeping, get rid of that, what some tables would consider a annoyance that they don't want to have to deal with. So I want to advise every game master out there, when you're handing out magic items, you want to, ask yourself, what impact is this going to have on the game? Is this going to remove a portion of the game? Now, it's okay if you want to remove encumbrance from the game using a bag of holding. I have no problem with that, but just know that that's what you're doing with some of these items. So let's say, for instance, if you don't want to track encumbrance, then you would give your players a Hewer's Handy Haversack or a bag of holding or a portable hole. All of these are designed to keep players from really having to track pounds that they're carrying anymore, because they'll just toss it in the bag, right? Another example is that for players who don't want to track arrows, there's the Endless Quiver, which can hold an intense amount of arrows, like hundreds of arrows if I'm not mistaken. And it's basically designed to make sure that players aren't having to, actually keep track of each individual arrow, because who's going to go through hundreds of arrows in one dungeon, right? You just assume when you get back to town, you refill it up, right? Another item would be like, say you don't want to track how much water they're drinking. Well, then you give them the Decanter of Endless Water, or you give them the Alchemist Jug, and hey, players are no longer tracking that. And of course, if you don't want to track food and how many rations they're going through, then you would just give your players a Ring of Sustenance or a Wand of Summon Gnome. Summon Gnome.